Hello, and welcome to the Street Aesthete channel. Now don't worry, we are going to be playing Geoguessr today, but I'm here at the beginning to warn you that the computer crashed at the end of the 5th game I played, and all of the screen grab of the gameplay was lost. So I've re-recorded it using Geoguessr's replay feature. This means that the screen layout is going to be a little bit different to what you'll usually see in my Geoguessr videos, but fear not, because the final game of the video was captured live. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to the Street Aesthete channel. Today we are dueling in Geoguessr. This time we're going to be playing 6 games to complete the week of 20 games, and we're going to see if we can climb to the very top of the leaderboard. We've got our first opponent for the day, and we begin in Europe. Looking very Baltic, I would say, and well, we've got 2 I's in a row there. The double vowels actually are usually the sort of thing you see in Finland. In the Finnish language, I should say. I'm still thinking of Estonia, but I think Finland is possible. So for that reason, I'm going to put myself quite far north in Estonia, not too far outside of Tallinn. And let's kick this game off. And we were in Estonia, but we were quite a bit further south there. But the landscape that we saw there could definitely be seen throughout most of the country, to be honest. Now something a lot drier and warmer. We're speaking Spanish here, which we can tell from the graffiti. We've got the sun in the north, so we're in the southern hemisphere. And going by the dryness and the red bricks, I'm definitely thinking of Peru here. I could see it being the far north of Chile perhaps, somewhere around here, but on the whole, definitely leaning in this sort of direction. It's not a country I'm particularly good at region guessing, Peru, and it is rather a big one. I'm just going to put the guess in and we'll see how it goes. Opponent also in Peru, and it was actually pretty far south in Argentina. Next up, I think we're in Asia. Going to check the sun, which is to our north, putting us in the southern hemisphere. So immediately I'm thinking of the only nation in Asia that is south of the equator, and that is Indonesia. However, this pole here is often found in Brazil, and the red soil is definitely leaning me in that direction. And it could be that I'm misinterpreting the way these people look. Yes, I'm now changing my mind very much to South America. Yeah, and we've got a Venji sign there. So I think this is Brazil, but I would say it's fairly far north, or actually maybe over towards Bolivia. This could even be Bolivia. So I'm going to put us kind of in the middle of the country on the edge of the Amazon. And it was the north of the country, in Amapá. Strange that the sun was still in the north, indicating southern hemisphere, but when you get to the equator, the sun is much less reliable, I find. The country is not immediately obvious to me here, but we do have Beirut Automatic Bakery. So it's not impossible that we're in Beirut, and it would make sense that I'm not familiar with it, because there isn't a lot of coverage in Lebanon. I think you've just got to go for it on a round like this, so we'll put ourselves kind of on the outskirts. Opponent in the same place, and yeah, as I suspected, we were not in Lebanon. Really, it made much more sense given how little coverage there is in Lebanon to go in the UAE. Sun is to our north, putting us in the southern hemisphere. My very, very first thought was New Zealand, but it's quite obvious that we're not there. I think we're in South America. Although actually I wouldn't like to rule out somewhere like Eswatini here. And the more I look around, the more that idea appeals to me. Yeah, I think that's where I'm leaning, much more than South America. It's hard to say exactly why. I suppose it's something to do with the shapes of the buildings here, and the kind of the rotundity of the roofs. But it's also it's partly the camera quality, it has to be said. You get to know what the coverage looks like, and then it's also sort of the dry grass and the distant hills. I'd struggle to place it in South America, but it's feeling a lot like it could be somewhere in Eswatini, so I'm just going to go in the middle of the country, I think. Ah, okay, it was South Africa after all, and quite a bit further south. But hey, at least we got the right continent. And what a fascinating place. There does come a point when you have such a varied collection of ugly, ugly buildings that it starts to have a sort of an aesthetic charm and character of its own. Anyway, I'm not going to waste too much time here. I am fairly certain that we're in Hong Kong. I just want to see if I can rule out Macau. We do have a Thai shop there and some Thai script, but I'm sure that's just to do with the shop, because all the other characters are Chinese. I suppose that they would be Cantonese. And we've got Shunning Road substation. So with that in mind, I suppose let's see if we can find Shunning Road. I think it's unlikely to be able to come across the exact road, of course, but in fact maybe we could do a bit of grid lining up. So we're on a diagonal, something like this. So we'd be on... Yeah, I mean this is all making sense, this sort of thing. We've got the stations labelled, so I'm just, I suppose, going to keep looking for Shunning Road for the time being. And let the clock run out. Hey, not bad. Can't see... Oh, well, here is Shunning Road marked on the map. I just couldn't see the station. But perhaps it wasn't actually a station because it looked like the shutters were down. Sun is to our south, putting us in the northern hemisphere, and I'm definitely thinking of the Arabian Peninsula, although I also wouldn't like to rule out Jordan, or even Israel, at this point. And I think actually closer to the Mediterranean is feeling more right to me with these rocky hills. I think we'd be seeing a big Google car if we were on the Arabian Peninsula. I think Israel is still possible, but on the whole, I'm definitely thinking of Jordan. I think with this good road quality, we are probably not too far from the capital. So I'm going to see if I can find a main road that's sort of heading in this sort of direction, and that looks about right, although I think we would be seeing a bit more urbanism around us if we were so close to the city. So we're maybe somewhere a bit further out. I think rather than find the road, I'm just going to sort of go with my gut. Is it possible we're a bit further north though? Yeah, this is all just beating around the bush. Let's get the guess in. Opponent goes in UAE. Oh, and it was. And that is the killer blow. So, we ended the previous video with a defeat, and we start this one with a defeat. I'm sorry to let you down, but I think with 5 games still to be played, there's definitely room for us to rise to number 1. Okay. Our next opponent is a Frenchman. We're in Denmark. I know that straight away from the red rim around the sign. And I suppose I'm not going to waste any time here, and I'll just go on Jutland. Opponent goes in more or less the same place, and we were actually on this island over here. Sun in the south, I think, so northern hemisphere. It looks like the Americas. That is definitely the sun there. So, I mean, I was definitely thinking of South America. I'm not too sure of the country here. I suppose Mexico is possible, but I was definitely thinking on this side of the Americas. So we could be, yeah, I mean, it's quite mountainous over there. We could be somewhere in Colombia. I could even see this, I suppose, being Ecuador. So yeah, I'm going to put us in southern Colombia. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Opponent goes in Mexico, and it was Mexico. Oh, I'm making blunders today. Making big blunders. Anyway, we're in the British Isles now, on my home turf. It is not looking particularly English to me, looking a bit more Irish, but I think we'd be more likely to see an EU plate if we were in Ireland. And I don't think we are seeing that. So I don't think it is England, and so for that reason I'm going to put us in Scotland. Opponent goes a bit further south. Oh, and it was Lincolnshire. Yeah, the Lincolnshire Wolds. It's funny, you know, because that's a notoriously flat part of the country, and it was a little bit hilly there. Okay, we've got to be in Japan now. Opponent guesses. I always find Japan a very interesting country to look at. It's instantly recognisable. I don't have any strong ideas about where this could be, so I'm just kind of going in the middle of Honshu. And we were on Honshu, but quite a bit further west. And our opponent is just making mincemeat of us today. We've got to claw this one back. Okay, we are in India. Looks like a big city. I'm suspecting New Delhi at the moment, but I do want to just have a look on the map and see if the script is right, which it is. So New Delhi, I think, is probably the one to go for here. We've got some kind of large motorway running through here north to south that we're intersecting. So if we can find something like that, that would make sense, I suppose. But I don't think we're right in the middle by all these temples, although I suppose we could be for that matter. Yeah. We don't look as though we're right near a park, but, well, if we just go in the middle of the city, we can't go too far wrong, can we? Opponent goes in Ahmedabad, and it was down in Imran Nagar, and that is game. Yeah, not going too well, is it? There is still time, I think, for us to get to number one, but it's increasingly getting away from us. I think we might have to win all 4 remaining games to make it happen. And we're going to start right now. Here comes the first victory of the video. Oh, I can feel it. We've got another German opponent. Okay, we have got Prodam, Uchastok. We've got some Cyrillic here. Bruce, Doska. I'm just looking to see how much of the language I recognise and understand, because I do know a fair bit of Russian, and so I can generally distinguish it from other Slavic languages. I'm not seeing anything here that would indicate Ukrainian to me, so I'm thinking of Bulgaria. But this is also quite a Baltic-looking scene, and really quite a beautiful neighbourhood, I would say. It'd be wonderful to have a house right in the woods like this. Checking to see if we've got the red car for Ukraine, although I don't suspect it. It does feel very warm and sunny, but yeah, I think I've just got to go outside of the Baltics in Russia. Could be a lot further south, of course. Opponent goes south of Moscow. Oh, okay. And it was right up by Petersburg. So I definitely had the right idea with the Baltic. In Europe, I think a big dam. Not too many other clues. Do we have a red tiled roof there? I can't even rule out North America, I don't think. Yeah, I do think Europe is correct. Not really getting east, not really getting west. I could even see this being Scandinavia. Although pretty far south, therein. Tricky. I'm between two ideas. I'm either thinking to go in the tri-point here, or I'm thinking to go in Sweden. I'm now trying to gauge what sort of trees we've got. There are a fair few birches, a fair few fir trees, but not quite enough to make me go Sweden, so yeah, I think on the whole I'm kind of happy where I am. I might go a little bit further north. Opponent in France. Oh, wow. That is the kind of guess we're looking for. Yep, really happy with that. Even changing it up at the last moment. Okay, we're in Asia now. We can certainly tell that from the black and yellow stripes. Very first idea is Taiwan, but I wouldn't like to rule out Korea. However, we're just not seeing anything like that. Like their language here. Could this be the outskirts of Hong Kong? No, I do not think so. I think we've definitely got to be in Taiwan here. Opponent goes on the other side of the island, and I'm just a little bit closer. Back in India, immediately recognisable from the reddish hue of the coverage and the ubiquitous rubbish strewn everywhere. But also, we're driving on the left, we can see the signs are set up for that. The camera quality is not the highest fidelity, and it's looking fairly dry. I think we just kind of go in the middle, really. This is the area I'm thinking of. I could see it being further south. Opponent goes further south. Wow. Good guess. Definitely a good guess there. Okay. North America. US or Canada, I've yet to ascertain. I think the fact that we've definitely got some kind of state plate here. I don't know which one it is, but that points me very much away from Canada. However, I do think we're quite far north. I could see us being in Michigan, in Wisconsin, Minnesota, yeah, anywhere around there really. Opponent goes in Mexico, and it was Canada. Okay, so we were in, is this Saskatchewan? No, that's Manitoba, isn't it? West of Winnipeg. Now I'm thinking immediately of Sweden. The red building here would suggest Norway, however the short white dashes on the road suggest Sweden, so how far north? Reasonably, but not extremely. Somewhere like this, I suppose, not too far from Norway, particularly with the architectural influence. Opponent goes a bit further north, and it was sort of between us. Pity we can't see these signs, I'm sure they would be helpful. But I'm thinking of Russia and Ukraine at the moment. Of the two, probably Russia more, given that we can't see the blurred red car, but this could very well be Ukraine. Bit of a red tinge to the road, and actually that is something that you do see in Ukraine. A bit of language would definitely help confirm it. It's a difficult one, you know, because we could be all the way over here in Russia, but equally we could be in Ukraine. I think I go with the gut here and go Ukraine because of the reddish tinge on the road, but we'll keep it pretty far east. Opponent goes in Russia, and it was Ukraine. So all that deliberation paid off, and that is the first victory of the game. Long awaited. Alright, we're back on track to get to the top of the leaderboard. I think we may now rise from 4th to 3rd. No, not quite. Next game we may manage it. And we've got a Japanese opponent this time, relatively highly rated. We're driving on the right. I'd say we're in Europe, white road lines. These coniferous trees by the side of the road. I'm between Italy and Spain, even Portugal. Yeah, I think we go Spain here. Just the middle of the country. And we were quite a bit further south there, south of Sevilla. This opponent is guessing quickly, so we won't have time to dawdle. But this is Moscow, isn't it? Although that said, yeah, I mean that's it, isn't it? That's the Red Fort or whatever it's called. And we're right next to St. Basil's, so let's find it. Haven't been to Moscow, and it doesn't seem that I'm likely to go there anytime soon, although it does look like a fascinating city and one that I would like to visit sometime if possible. Here we go, St. Basil's is just to our, so we're this side of it, on this edge of the park. There's a potential 5k here up for grabs. Well done to us both, I suppose. Our opponent really did get the 5k. I was a bit rushed and didn't quite manage it. Well, got the 5k, but didn't get within a matter of feet from it. Okay, so we've got a concrete road here. I do believe we're in Asia. So the Philippines comes to mind, but actually we seem to be driving on the left. And so with a concrete road like this, you maybe think of Thailand. Let's just check the sun. Yeah. Not loving this, but I do think we go quite far south in Thailand. Okay, yeah, we were on Sumatra, so not so good there. But hey, that's actually the first time our opponent has done us any damage in this game. Okay, we're in Kenya. Immediately we can see the snorkel, and our opponent has guessed straight away. Sun is equatorial. I think we just guess middle, don't we? Maybe hedging a little bit further east for the kind of deserty coverage, although we could equally be further north. Opponent commits south, and it pays off. We were actually right on the border there, or near the border with Tanzania. A beautiful landscape now in Europe. Spring coverage in, I would say, France. Chazeau-le-Pau. What a way to name your town, your village. Chazeau-le-Pau. Is there any chance, though, that this is Switzerland? I would say not. It doesn't really look alpine, does it? So we maybe go not too far from the Alps, but yeah, somewhere around Grenoble. Let's see how we fare. Opponent goes in Brittany, which it was never going to be, because I don't think you get a landscape like that there. And we were, yeah, a little bit further into France, into the interior, away from the Alps, as I suspected. So we're driving on the right, white road lines. And apart from that, we've just got to go by the landscape. This is a tricky round for me. Ideas that come to mind? France, again? Romania? Not so much. Yeah. Still definitely thinking of France. Especially with this kind of hedgerow style, well, it's not a hedgerow, but this sort of thicket of trees. Definitely feeling more Western Europe. Yeah, I think we go kind of north of the middle, south of Paris. Opponent with a similar idea. Hey, good guess on my part. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, very nice. The yellow and black striped sticker again, indicating Asia. And we've got... It doesn't immediately strike me as Japanese script. I can't tell if that's the front or the back of a car. I think this is probably Taiwan for that reason. It could be a Japanese landscape, but it doesn't immediately... I did say earlier that Japan is a very distinctive country, and I'm just not getting it on this round. So I think Taiwan is the play, as I say. And I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for probably a similar sort of region to last time. Somewhere in the agricultural west side of the country, and kind of in the middle of the island. Opponent goes right in the south, and my guess is a little bit better. Interesting to be committing that far south. Perhaps it's a place that the opponent has visited. Right, okay, I think this is the Faroe Islands. Yeah. We can't see the coast anywhere, so we're probably on one of the larger islands and kind of right in the middle, really. We could be on a road like this. Let's see. Generally going kind of north to south-ish, so that seems less likely. Something like that maybe could work. Something like this could work also. Have we got a little river running alongside us? Hey, yes we do. And the river is north of us, so... The more I look at this, the less inclined towards it I am. Yeah, no, I think this could all sort of be making sense. I'm not certain it's right by any means, but we're not going to go too far wrong on the Faroes. Oh, okay, we both identified the same road, but it was a different, similar looking road with a little stream next to it. The oil palms of Indonesia. It's my first idea here. Thinking of Sumatra in particular. We've got the 3 insulators on the pole there. Definitely driving on the left. So yeah, Sumatra, feeling good. I could definitely see us being on Borneo, but on the whole I'm liking Sumatra for this. I suppose I'm going to hedge towards the east in case we are over here, minimising damage. Okay, and we're on Java. That works out nicely for me. Hey, it works out very nicely for me. That is a victory. And our second of the video. No, we still haven't quite risen to third place here. We've got 2 games remaining, so it's definitely still within reach. We've got the French opponent that we saw earlier. I do believe he beat us last time, so let's return him the favour this time. There aren't too many places where you see the dark Google car like this, and I think that the place that you do see it is Rwanda. Maybe it's Kampala in Uganda, but no, I think on the whole... where am I going? Here's Rwanda. Yeah, I think we're not going to be too far from Uganda if it is there, but I think we're probably on the outskirts of Kigali here. Yeah, and we were just a little bit closer into the centre, or rather on the other side of it. Not a bad start. A beautiful European landscape here. Is this German? There's something just a little bit Scandi about it, but I don't think this wouldn't be Denmark, it wouldn't be Sweden. Oh, but could it actually be Norway? Yeah. This might be a blunder. It could well be a blunder, but I am actually thinking about Norway here, although I was initially thinking of Austria and Switzerland. But yeah, I think we've got it here. Oh, nice. Good stuff, yeah, just east of Oslo. Good going there. It was the language that gave it away for me. It looked German, but it wasn't quite German. Where are we now? Lots of Chinese text around. But we're driving on the left here. I think that would suggest Malaysia. Hong Kong it might also suggest, but I don't think that's where we are. I'm seeing those striped curbs there. Yeah, okay, it was Malaysia, but on the island of Borneo, we were in Sarawak there, Western Sarawak. I think we had a round not too dissimilar to that last video that ended up being in Sarawak, so that's got to be one to look out for. Now we are probably in the Americas, although I don't want to rule out Asia straight away. Lots of these little motorbikes, which feels more Asian. I think we need to check the sun at this point. The sun suggests northern hemisphere, which doesn't necessarily help me. Okay, language here is English, and here also. I'm really baffled, if I'm honest. Really baffled. Not liking anything much here. Oh, the Philippines. Yeah, makes sense. As you can see, I really was not clear on where we were, but I got the right side of the globe, so yeah, if you're on the right side of the Pacific, while your opponent isn't, you're not in too much trouble. Okay. Is that sun? Yeah, sun in the south. I suppose I'm thinking of Spain here. Where else could this be? Greece is not impossible, but unlikely, I would say, with this road quality. It could also be Portugal, but yeah, on the whole, I think Spain is where we are. I don't have a great idea of which region it could be. Maybe we go a little bit further south with how dry it is. Opponent goes... Oh, good. Opponent goes more over to the east, and I'm definitely closer there. Not at all a bad guess. We're back in Asia now. And I think this is the Bangladeshi language. Is it called Bengali? I'm not sure. They're by the Bay of Bengal. And anyway, I suppose we go on the outskirts of Dhaka. Opponent goes a bit further north, and it was just west of Dhaka, on the other side of this river. Checking for the roof rack, not there, but we've got yellow license plate on the car, so this is almost certainly Colombia. I was thinking of South America. Another yellow license plate there confirms it and makes Ecuador less likely. So yeah, we go in Colombia. Maybe a little bit further south, because it does feel like it could be not far from Ecuador. And it was a bit further west. East of Bogota. Okay, this is either Indonesia or Malaysia. We've got a mix of the things that usually give it away for me. We've got a yellow road line which says Indonesia, but we've got the black and white striped curbs which say Malaysia. So we'll have to take a look at the sun. I think it's over here, which is in the middle, doesn't really help us. But we've also got an unusual script here, which I think is just something to do with this particular establishment. Driving on the left. Yeah, this is a tricky one for me. I might just go between Sumatra and the Malaysian peninsula here. I'm really not sure. Opponent also goes in the sea. Oh, okay, and it was this island to the south of Singapore, which I suppose must be part of Indonesia. And that's game. We're back for the last game of the week, game 20 out of 20. If we win it, we can rise to the top of the leaderboard. Let's make it happen. And here comes our final opponent, a Brazilian, lower rated than we are, so I'm hopeful that we can make this the victory to close out the series of 3 videos on this week. I think we're in Europe here. The architecture would certainly suggest that. Green signage here looks like it could be German language. And I'm just trying to see the copyright. Don't know if we can see it. Thinking of Germany, so I'll get it in. Maybe to the south. I'm also thinking of this whole area here. See how it plays out. Yeah, we were in Austria there, so it probably was German language that we could see. And our opponent actually does guess in the right country there, although guessing on the try point. Europe again. Interesting. 2, I think, church towers over there. We seem to have an EU plate, I would say. At the moment I'm thinking of Romania. I could also see this being Serbia, to be honest. Yeah, I actually think Serbia could be right. It looks like we could be kind of south of the flat plains of Hungary. Yeah, this sort of area, east of Novi Sad. Opponent does go in Romania, and it was indeed Romania. That's a pretty good guess there. But again, I think just guessing near the try point. Alright, we are now in Asia. We've got the concrete road. So I'm thinking of the Philippines. And they do look like they're driving on the right. So I think Philippines is going to be the correct country. And I'm going to go sort of middle, but just a bit further north. Opponent goes on Borneo, and it was indeed a bit further north in the Philippines, so that is a good chunk of damage there. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure whether we're in South America or Asia at this point. This is definitely looking more Asian. Sun is to the north, which would put us in the southern hemisphere. I'm still trying to decipher the text here. Does the yellow license plate tell us anything? And are those Chinese characters there, or is that just the camera quality not quite getting the script? Really tricky. A really, really tricky round. I'm still between Asia and South America, to be honest. But of the two, leaning more towards Asia. But driving on the right. What can I read here? Text, Viber. Lots of numbers, nothing helpful. A Toyota, so we're maybe more likely to be in Asia. Are we driving on the right, or is this a one-way system? No, we're surely driving on the right. Then where would that put us? I suppose Cambodia would be a possibility. Doesn't look typically Cambodian. But we could maybe be on the outskirts of the capital. So that's one idea. Is there any Vietnamese coverage? Well, not in 2020. If there is coverage, it's new coverage. Could it be the Philippines again? It is kind of a concrete road, isn't it? You know what? I think that's got to be it. We're driving on the right on a concrete road in Asia. Looks like a big city, or at least it looks like an affluent suburb of what's probably a big city. So is it going to be Manila? Or is it maybe going to be Davao? It's probably going to be the capital, isn't it? But then I also kind of had this idea about Malaysia. Hear me out here. So latitude-wise, that would mean it's maybe further south. I think the thing to do here is to guess in the middle of the Philippines. I'm not confident that our opponent is going to get the right country. I'm not confident I'm going to get the right country, for that matter. Let's see how this one plays out. You're probably shouting at the screen saying, it's clearly, whatever it turns out to be. Okay. It was the Philippines. Our opponent doesn't guess. And that's game. Alright. Feels a bit of a hollow victory, given that our opponent didn't guess, but at least we got the right country. And with that, we have, in spite of 2 defeats this game, got to the top of the leaderboard, where I would say there's a fairly good chance we're going to remain. Alejandro Casero has 1 game left to play, so cannot overtake us. And the next closest player, Ulitka136 from Russia, has still only got 3 games left, so he can't overtake us. Yeah, there may be some dark horses in here yet to rise, but I think on the whole, we're probably pretty safe at the top of the leaderboard here. Hello, I'm here on Monday of the following week to find out whether we have defended our spot at the top of the leaderboard. So let's see the results. Here it comes. Yes, we have been promoted the Master 2. And we just got knocked off our spot by an Aussie player. We were in second place, but not quite at the top of the leaderboard this time. Thank you for staying with me right to the end of the video. Since you've made it this far, why not leave a like and subscribe for more Geoguessr videos and street view explorations of noteworthy locations. If you've enjoyed the music that you hear in this video, then take a look at my first channel, which is where I upload all of my original music.